Hey folks, C. Rachana Ranade here and I welcome you all to a very important video which is about behavioral finance part 2. Thanks a lot everyone for the amazing response that you have given for part 1, and everyone was like, we want to learn more, we want part 2 of this video. And could it happen that you requested for something and I didn't deliver? It just can't happen, right? So that is the reason why I've come up with this video. If you have not checked out the previous video, I'm going to put the link in the pinned comment and in the description box. But please understand that video 2 has got nothing to do with video 1. So just in case if you have started watching this video, it's absolutely okay if you complete watching this and then go back to the previous video. But what had we discussed in the previous video? We talked about all these 3 biases, and very important, we also understood as to how can we overcome these biases. So in today's video, we are going to talk about 3 more biases and obviously how to overcome those 3 biases as well. The very first bias is called as a confirmation bias. Now, just to understand this, I'll give you a simple example. Assume that I was studying a specific stock. I did the fundamental analysis, I did the technical analysis, everything. I checked out the annual, in fundamental analysis, I checked their annual report, I checked the management con calls, everything I've checked out. Okay. Now I'm pretty sure that, okay, this stock is fundamentally strong and I decide to buy the stock. Okay. Now, once I have bought, I always start to look out for validation. I'll try to see what is written in the newspaper about this stock. What are the TV anchors talking about this stock? What are other social media influencers talking about this stock? And if they are of my opinion, I'll be like, yes, they're right. And if they're talking against my thought process, I'll be like, what rubbish. Haven't they studied the stock properly? So, what is happening in this case? I am just trying to seek comfort that my study is correct rather than checking the facts on which they are basing their opinion. So, as a good investor, what you should do is that you should not only seek comforts, you should seek facts. There is a possibility that you might have ignored a specific fact while analyzing a stock. And if you feel that the other person who has done an analysis which opposes your view, just try to see what fact is that person mentioning, and is that fact really a fact which can, create a big impact on the stock. So, as a good investor, what you should be doing is that do your own analysis, but at the end, also ensure that you are seeking facts, not comfort. Very important point is that understand this. Like we say, every coin has 2 sides. Every stock has also 2 opinions, a buy opinion and a sell opinion. Just because someone else is opposing your opinion does not mean that you are wrong and that person is right. Sometimes a person may lose his or her own confidence and may say that, oh, I think my study was not good, that person is more experienced than me, so let me just square off my position. Don't do that. Just ensure that your studies are good enough. If you have missed out on a point, consider that as well and then rethink on your stock. The second bias is called as overconfidence bias. Typically futures and options traders become a target of this overconfidence bias. Now, what is this? F&O traders would do their own study. Now, what would they do? Typically, let's say in the first trade, they trade only with one lot. Okay. And there's something called as beginner's luck, and they'll succeed. Now they feel, Array, I won in the very first trade. Now, next trade, I'm going to take with 2 lots. Again, they succeed. They take their third trade with, let's say, 4 lots, and they are keeping on doubling their lot size with every single trade. Assume that they are winning in all first 4, 5, 6 trades. There could be a possibility that overall market is in a bull phase, and that is the reason why they are actually winning in their trades. At one point in time, they are going to get this feeling of kabhi kabhi lagta hai Punish Bhagwan hai. They're going to slip from confidence to overconfidence, and this is where the danger zone enters. A person who had the capacity of maximum 4, 5, 6 lots as a risk taking capacity jumps to 30, 40, 50 lots, and ek galat kadam or puri saltanat khatam is what happens with such a person. One wrong trade makes such a huge loss that whatever profits that the person had made in all the previous trades get wiped off with one wrong decision. So it's very important that you don't slip from confidence to overconfidence. Ensure that you have done proper research. Ensure that you are taking only that much quantity which is allowed as per your risk profile, and then only trade with caution. Let's move on with the third bias, which is called as the recency bias. Now, what is this? We as humans, we have the tendency of keeping all the recent news in our mind, and whenever news become old, we happily or we conveniently forget those, is what I can say. So This happens with our normal lives, and obviously the same thing happens with stock market as well. So assume that a stock has rallied very much in the last 1 month. That is what is absolutely ingrained in our minds. But what had happened with the stock 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, no one even cares to remember that. So what many people do, just because the stock has rallied amazingly in the last 1 month, they would take a position in in that stock. Now, how to overcome such a recency bias? Ideally, step number one, don't zoom in and take decisions. Ideally, you should also zoom out and understand what has happened with that stock in a bigger picture. If you have seen my videos on multi time frame analysis, I have always given more focus on analyzing a stock in the daily time frame, as well as in the weekly time frame, as well as in the monthly time frame. When you analyze a stock from all the time frames, that is when you build more conviction about that stock, and that is where the recency bias is also killed to some extent. Number two, also try and do good research about the stock, which will also focus on how the stock has performed in the past, what were the fundamentals of that stock, and then take the decisions accordingly. So, all in all, for overcoming the recency bias, I hope you have understood that don't only zoom in and focus on what has happened in the recent past. Just zoom out and check out the fundamentals in entirety. So, all in all, what did we understand today? Today, we talked about three biases. The very first bias that we discussed today was about confirmation bias. In confirmation bias, I hope you remember that one line that I told you: seek facts, not comfort. In the second bias, we talked about overconfidence bias, and there I told you that there's a very thin line between being confident and being overconfident. Try to ensure that you don't step away from being confident to being overconfident. Number three, we talked about a recency bias, and I just told you simple way to overcome that is that just take a zoomed out view, understand how the stock has performed in multi time frames, look at the fundamentals, and then take a final decision. I hope all these behavioral aspects of finance will add more value to your knowledge. In fact, I was recently watching a video of one of the cricketers, and he said that the performance of the field is only 10% of how you play. 90% of your performance is how you balance your emotions. This is where the whole game is. But for a stock market investor, I think 100% of the game is here. And that is the reason why you should give equal importance to your research and to your emotions as well. I hope you found a lot of value in today's video. If you did, please don't forget to smash the like button. Please don't forget to share this video with your friends. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care. Jai Hind. Bye bye.